In the SEC, let's start and let's look around this conference and let's talk about biggest areas of focus right now. How about wide receiver at A&M? The entire developmental process of wide receiver at Texas A&M. Now, this is not a one-year thing. This has been something that folks in and around College Station, they've looked at for quite a while with their program, and they've seen that we got some really good talent and we got depth along both lines of scrimmage. Our personnel, they look good when they get off the bus. We've even had varying degrees of good quarterback play here, but we have not really been able to stretch the field. Famously, they have not been able to stretch the field. 92nd in pass plays of 20-plus yards in 2021. Had issues at quarterback, didn't have a full cupboard stocked with elite wide receiver talent. So we've got Aniyah Smith coming back, and then we've got a blank. And in that blank, I just wrote the word opportunity. A lot of guys have opportunity. Jalen Wiedemeyer's gone. There are a lot of guys with opportunity here. Now, the guy that they are going to look at, first and foremost, from a national perspective, so I guess the guy that we're going to look at a lot is Evan Stewart. We made a big deal about his recruitment for good reason. He's one of the best skills, collections, I guess, of skill, you would call it, in the country, regardless of position. But he signed with Texas A&M. 5-star in every sense of the word, and he's going to be given the opportunity to compete, as they all are, but he's got a legitimate shot to lock down real playing time and be an immediate contributor there. What about Tennessee? Let's go over to Knoxville, Tennessee. Let's talk about cornerback development. See, a lot of folks, I think with a lot of these programs, the natural inclination in the spring is to say, all right, what does quarterback look like? What does running back, wide receiver look like? Yes, we can do that, and we're going to do that plenty. But corner is a particular area of focus for me with Tennessee. They have an interesting season to look back on at Tennessee. You look back and you remember, well, you probably remember the bowl game, but you also remember there was some up, there was some down, but you expected disaster at the beginning of the year. So they overachieved relative to expectation. They lost 6 games last year. But I want to remind you how the season shook out. See, they got blown out by Georgia. They got blown out by Bama. They lost handedly to Florida. Those 3 weren't close. But they had games against Pitt, Ole Miss, and Purdue, the bowl game, that were all one-possession games. So they look at it and they said, well, we ended up being bowl eligible. We had 3 more games that were well within our reach. How close are we really to being an 8-win team, 9-win team? Well, the answer is not that far away from it. But then you don't just get to build automatically on where you were last season. It's not onward and upward. Sometimes there's some things that you have to replace from last year. And at Tennessee, they've got 3 corner spots to fill, really. Alontae Taylor's gone, Theo Jackson's gone. Those were the 2 mainstays at corner. And so multiple guys are needed. That is, as we always say around here, why God invented spring practice, and that's what they're going to be working on over there. The reason that matters is because it doesn't really matter if you get them to 3rd and 11 a whole lot, if they know that they can just 50-50 you to death, and it really turns into like a 70-30 proposition for them because you don't have consistent corner play. Keep an eye on the defensive back position at Tennessee. At LSU, now this one's right up front and in your face. It's kind of like Clemson. We're going to talk about them in a little while. LSU, the quarterback rotation. That's the area of focus for me. I'm less sold on this concept that Jaden Daniels is just coming in and grabbing that job by the throat than some people are. Some people are not like that. Some people around LSU think, yeah, it's going to be a legitimate competition. But since we didn't have a show Sunday night, and I was able to reach out a little bit more on this particular subject of LSU quarterback rotation, I had someone make the case for Jaden Daniels. I had a couple of people make the case for Miles Brennan. I had one dude strongly make the case for Garrett Nussmeier. And basically what that tells me, because these are all folks who watch and follow the program on a day-to-day basis, they're informed, I trust their opinions, it's wide open. This is not anyone's job, it's not some formality. Plus, it's a new staff, so no one even knows anyone. So this is going to be something to watch. I could be sold on a scenario where any of these 3 guys, even if everyone's healthy, any of these 3 guys ends up starting. Now the OC there, for those unfamiliar, Mike Denbrock comes there by way of Cincinnati. This is a guy who's gotten used to having mobility as a factor at the quarterback position. Doesn't mean he has to have it. Doesn't mean his offense is predicated on it. It does mean that he is, well, as of recently, been most comfortable with that factor there. Does it come into play? We'll see. I think what they want more so than a specific skill set, they want poise and they want good decision making. That's what they're looking for at quarterback. And then if they find a guy, whether it's Miles Brennan who has that or Jaden Daniels or Garrett Nussmeier, that's who's going to be starting. Bold prediction, I know. That's who's going to be starting week 1 for LSU. Hey, the offensive line situation at Alabama, I think, bears very close watching. Over the course of Preview Magazine season, which is coming up, and SEC Media Day season and whatnot, You're going to be told this is the overwhelming favorite to win the national championship. You're going to look at these headlines that tell you Alabama's got the shortest odds to win the title of any team since fill in the blank, and that's all well and good, and they may very well be my preseason prediction to win the national championship for all I know. But I will tell you this particular Alabama team is not sitting here in spring like they normally are with these stalwarts that you can write names in Sharpies of at the offensive tackle positions. They don't have that right now. Nick Saban spoke about it at his first press conference. They've already started spring ball. Now, he didn't paint some doom and gloom scenario or picture, but I kind of think he was very real with it. He listed names, Kendall Randolph, Javion Cohen, who else? Tommy Brockermeyer, Damian George. These are guys that a lot of people, when they committed to Alabama, penciled in as interior offensive line guys. And then J.C. Latham, who's also working in the mix here. I think he's a second-year guy. He may be a redshirt freshman, but he's a second-year guy. That's the one who, when they got him out of high school, was one of those high-profile, five-star types, the Evan Neals, the Alex Leatherwoods of the world. J.C. Latham was going to be that next guy, and he may very well be. He just hasn't seen the field yet. But I'm very curious how this works out, because it could be that you know Bryce Young, and so you know a lot of the higher profile facets of the team, but offensive line may get overlooked. So we're not going to overlook it on this show. So keep an eye on the offensive tackle spot. Interior, I don't have a problem. I don't think they have any issue there. I think they'll have multiple quality pieces from which to choose. But the offensive tackle situation, just let's pay attention to it. Auburn, I don't even have a specific position that I've carved out here because there are a lot of them. So the area of focus for me with Auburn is team stability. It's generic, and it's generic for a reason. New offensive coordinator, new defensive coordinator, very, very hazy quarterback picture right now at Auburn. I'll tell you this, though. Brian Harsin, to his credit, went on a couple of shows the other day. He went on Cole and Greg McElroy's show. He went on Next Round Live with our friends down there in Birmingham. I think he should do more public appearances. I thought he was funny. Thought he sounded really loose. Thought he sounded really, as some of my friends like to say, cool, calm, and elected. Well, he's the head coach at Auburn, and a lot of folks didn't think he'd have that title 2 months ago, so they've got a lot to figure out. You know, they've lost a lot on the defensive line, too. See, you've had the drama with the head coaching rumors and somewhat headlines, but mainly rumors, and then you've had the coordinator and the staff churn. They lost a lot of defensive line depth, too. So this is not the league to be saying that in. It's what I'm telling you. Is the churn finished is the question I have. The churn meaning the upheaval, guys hitting the exit door. It's not just a given that that's the case. They certainly probably feel like it's done, but you've got spring ball, then you're going to come out of spring, and let's see what that looks like. But at quarterback, anyone's guess is as good as anyone else's there. And I'm talking even about people who are inside the program. Ask some folks inside the program. I have. They don't know. They think TJ Finley, probably have him written in very light pencil. But Zach Calzada's come in there. Robbie Ashford's come in there. A lot of them like Davis, the second-year guy. And he's the only homegrown product they have there right now. Those are some areas of focus. And you know, we could do a whole nother segment because I didn't even mention Georgia. There's a first-year staff at Florida. I didn't even mention Kentucky. I did not. You know what? Save that. We may actually have some more SEC to talk about.